What's up, my friends? Tuesday, here we are, still snowing outside. It's non-stop. I feel like it's gonna snow up until June, who knows? I feel like we're getting that New York winter. So one topic today, and I will be talking about the Canon 1DX Mark II and what settings I use for 4K video, as well as shooting the slow motion 1080p at 120 frames per second. So let's get into it. So if you've been watching my videos lately, I have been shooting with nothing but the Canon 1DX Mark II. This camera for me is just phenomenal. I freaking love it. I love the 4K quality that comes out of it. And I've been really liking the 1080p to 120 frames per second that this camera comes with. Oh my God, it just looks so buttery smooth with the slow motion. Yes, there's no audio for it, but usually I use the B-roll with music anyway, so it's a plus for me. So anyways, right to it, the settings that I use, right? I get this question a lot. What settings do you use for your camera? So for both 4K video and 1080p slow motion, I use a neutral color profile. But in that color profile, I still make a couple changes. Sharpness always goes all the way down for me. Contrast, I use -2. Saturation, -1. And color tone, I leave at a 0. That is what I use for my settings in the neutral profile for both 4K video as well as 1080p at 120 frames per second. ISO, of course, is tailored to the light that's coming in already. So if you want to determine your shutter speed, all you have to do is what's your frame rate you're shooting at. If it's at 24, you multiply that by 2. So that will give you a 48-second shutter speed that you need to use. Of course, there's some cameras that don't give you that precise, so sometimes it's 50, but just try to get it to as close as you can to the 2 times multiplier. So of course, if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, the multiplier of that of 2 is 1/60th of a second in the shutter speed. So that's what you would use. So if I'm using slow motion, 120 frames per second, times that by 2, that gives you 240, right? So in the shutter speed, there is no 240. So you just round it off to the next one, which is 250. So I use 250th of a second for the shutter speed. So anyway, those are my settings. White balance, always tailored. If I'm on a set, I use a white balance checker, so that way I get the proper white balance. Otherwise, I just try to change the Kelvin to whatever looks the best. If I'm in front of the camera, sometimes I just throw this baby. Right now it's on auto white balance, so you'll see a shift here and there because I'm just talking to the camera on YouTube one-on-one. But if it's a professional set, I will definitely tailor it to the white balance to the set of the lights that I'm using. I hope that makes sense. So anyways, just a quick video of the settings that I use when I shoot in slow motion and 4K video. Again, I just use that 2 times multiplier for the shutter speed that you're looking for, so that way you don't get confused when you're shooting at 120 frames per second and think about, okay, what shutter speed should I use? I always use that 2 time multiplier when you're shooting in slow motion. But this is just a quick video for you guys, just to share with you my camera settings that I use for my Canon 1DX Mark II. I usually apply this with all my other Canon cameras as well. So if you have any other questions about the settings that I use for this camera, or any other settings that you have questions on for the cameras you use, just leave those questions below and we'll answer them for you. So don't forget to subscribe, guys. I have a lot of videos coming out this year. Want to make sure you don't miss them. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Other than that, my friends, I'll catch you guys in the next video.